Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your TWitWoW Monthly Q&A number 69. Nice. It is March of 2022, and we have got a grand total of 30 questions to answer this month. It seems like these are kind of starting to really chill out lately, which honestly, I'm not going to complain. It means that we can get in and out of here a little bit quicker. It seems like people are finally starting to run out of things to ask us. So let's get to our first set of questions, as long as you're cool with that, John.
Oh, absolutely. With the way my internet's been, let's do this. Let's get out of here.
First set of questions are from Hypothesis. First question: ever notice how people who held the Lucha Underground's trios titles were in more than one? Who held those titles in more than one team? Specifically, Drago and Son of Havoc had unusual circumstances that put them in that situation.
This is interesting. I never really thought about that before. What about you, man?
Let me actually make sure that I'm going to go back. Okay. You ever notice the only wrestlers to hold the LU Trios titles in more than one team, Drago and Son of Havoc, did so in our new? Yeah, honestly, I'm just going to chalk it up to a small sample size, guys. Like it's literally two examples. I mean, if Lucha Underground would have been longer and they would have continued that trend through like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams, I would have been like, okay, maybe there's something to this. But you know, I always like to say one time can be a fluke, two times can be a coincidence. It's not till you get to three that it starts to become a trend. You know.
Absolutely. All right, next question.
Second question: ever notice that when someone had more than one persona in Lucha Underground, only one of those personas would hold a title? So the examples he gave here were the Disciples of Death, Pindar, who went on to become something Steve, I forget his name, and then Pentagon, who was Pentagon Junior, and then Pentagon Dark.
Again, interesting observation. I don't know if you can just copy paste small sample size because that only seemed to be 3 people. But
Honestly, I would,
yeah,
yeah, I would literally just say like, we're talking about Pentagon, who would have probably held a title with a persona change or not. The Disciples of Death, who only held the titles as like a prop to put forward the Katrina Mill dominance storyline, and they only held those titles because of Katrina. And Pindar, I don't even remember the name of his character that he held Trios Gold with. So like that's a tough one too.
yeah.
Or
All
actually, I
right.
think Pindar was the name of that was the one that held the trio because it was him, Luchasaurus, and Drago that were the trio's champions, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Vibora, and Drago were the trio's
Yeah,
champions at
yeah.
one point. And then yeah, I don't even remember like it really does like again we're talking about a show that had a really short 4-season run, and the characters that you're talking about were either jobbers who were lucky to win titles in the first place. In the case of DOD, would have held the title whether they changed their character or not. In the case of Penta, or were only around for like a season and a half, maybe 2 seasons tops, and might have held another title down the line had the show been able to keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Third question from Hypothesis: if Sami Zayn defends the IC title against Knoxville in a lumberjackass match, do you think Bam Margera will interfere?
Well, I guess that won't be happening now because Ricochet is still the Intercontinental Champion, right? I mean, I know
Yeah.
we've been totally checked out, but
Yeah, well, no, yeah, that's like yeah. He asked this way back on February 24th, and since then, yeah, we've had Sami Zayn lose the IC title to Ricochet, and now Sami is facing Knoxville in, I believe, just like a no disqualification match, like an anything goes match. So we could very easily see Bam Margera actually show up and interfere, or I guess since it would be technically legal, just help Knoxville win. I don't know.
fully expect it. It's just going to be a shenanigan fest. So yeah, that seems entirely plausible to me.
All right, next set of questions are from Super Blue. His first question is: how do you feel about Matt Cardona becoming a world champion? He is the NWA champion right now, by the way.
You know what's funny, Super Bowl, is I don't think about him at all.
Yeah,
So
no, me
yeah, that's
neither.
kind of my answer to that question.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that Super Blue is like asking us questions, trying to get a reaction out of us, and it's just like, okay, but so
It's like the Let's Go Brandon of wrestling fandom. It's like
yeah.
I have no problem saying fuck Matt Cardona. I don't think about him at all. So whatever he's doing, good on him. It's not my problem.
Yeah. All right. So, question 2 from Super Blue is: how do you feel about Cesaro's WWE career?
Um, I always feel like, I'm sorry, Ashton, I went first, but I didn't think if you wanted to go first. But I guess just to get it out of the way, I enjoyed it for what it was. I love the Seth Rollins program. I wish Cesaro would have come in maybe a bit earlier because during the age of the two world titles, specifically the big gold belt, I feel like he would have been an excellent world heavyweight champion. I mean, if you could put the belt on fucking Swagger, right? Like, there's no reason why you couldn't have done an experimental reign with him when that title was around. I do still think ultimately I would have liked to have seen him win at least one world championship. He was never going to be a multi-time world champion. Even I wasn't that unrealistic. Um, I think Suit Cesaro was best Cesaro when he had the entrance where he like ripped the suit off and run to the ring. I thought it was a cool look. Um, the times they turned him heel, I never understood it. I think when you're as good as he was in WWE, people just want to gravitate to that and be a part of that. Uh, so yeah, I feel like he had a great career. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it was nothing. It was horrible the whole way. No, he did a lot of good shit. I mean, tag team with Tyson Kidd, one of the maybe even at this point underrated tag teams, just because I don't really hear them talked about anymore.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of good, and there were a lot of great matches and great highlights. But you always know that they could have done just a little bit more, and I think that's ultimately how I feel about Cesaro. So, do you have anything you wanted to add from your perspective?
I'm pretty much just in agreement with you. I think it's just a situation where he just felt perpetually underused. Uh, you know, I think that he's one of those guys that even if you don't think that he can connect with the crowd on the mic, you don't need him to do that. You could just give him a manager and let him do it that way. If we had fucking Jimmy Hart in the business for years and years and years, helping even baby faces, but also mostly heels get over, and had them in the main event. Like for years, we had literally the main event scene was literally just Hulk Hogan versus whoever the fuck Jimmy Hart or Mr. Fuji was managing at the time. I know Jimmy Hart managed Hulk Hogan as well at some points, but yeah, like I feel like the art of the manager is really lost on Vince, and frankly, it's because he just doesn't give a fuck. There's no real um, uh, motivation, I guess. There's another better word for that I can't think of, but there's no real motivation for Vince to work to get anyone over, really, that he doesn't see as someone that can get over. Like Vince is just gonna do what Vince wants, and if it works, good for him, I guess. And if it doesn't, like it's been, then they'll just keep losing viewers, and he'll keep making billions of dollars through Saudi deals and TV deals and shit because they're still pretty much the last remnant of actual live television that feels like an event that if you keep up with it you can like talk with other people online about it and stuff that doesn't have seasons. Like you have NBA season, MLB season, NFL season. WWE's year round. They're able to take advantage of times when there's nothing else going on, and like it's literally the only weekly live television show that runs year round left. That and other wrestling shows. That's it. So they're going to keep making money hand over fist, whether they're good or not.
I think that was well said. All right, next question.
Next set of questions. Or no, actually, we're still in Super Blue. So third question from Super Blue: how do you feel about the end of the brand split? RIP, July 19th, 2016 to April 3rd, 2022, with Roman and Brock unifying the belts. I think is his implication here.
I think we've always been very clear, not to speak for both of us, so I'll just kind of emphasize on my half that, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you don't have a brand split, you can only really focus on so many talents at one time. Whereas I think when you do a brand split and you give each brand its unique identity, like, I know I'm kind of showing my age here, but when you think about the Ruthless Aggression era, and you had SmackDown run by Stephanie for a brief time, and then Raw majorly run by Eric Bischoff for, several years. Raw was more like the promo talking, quote unquote, entertainment show. But then you had SmackDown come into its identity as like the work rate show. That's where the wrestlers
Yeah,
are, the
Raw
SmackDown
was
six
like
and stuff.
basically WCW Nitro era, like 97, 98, where it was like this really good variety show that had something for everyone. And SmackDown embraced that it was a wrestling show and went through with that.
Exactly, exactly. So I think that's the beauty of it is when you have a brand split, you kind of make an identity. Sometimes that identity is good, sometimes not so good. But I think, it's part of that process. And to take away that creativity, you're just really embracing now that it's like, okay, yeah, it's a revolving door that's supported on the backs of all these people that'll never be as visible as these guys. And it's just disappointing. Sasha, do you have anything you want to add?
I don't think so. No, I pretty much agree. I have like this sort of creative vision that I love thinking about because it's so exciting, but I know it's never going to happen. Where literally just based on the TV channels that these shows are on, you have SmackDown on the sports channel on Fox, which is always meant to be more sports oriented. They cover real sports and stuff. And then you have Raw on the literal channel. Like their whole thing is characters, right? Like it's the characters channel in USA Network. And I just feel like with that kind of split, you could really lean into those sort of concepts and into those themes and make SmackDown sort of, the way that we always said that NXT for a really long time was PWG through the WWE lens. You could make SmackDown New Japan through a WWE lens, and then you could make Raw Lucha Underground through a WWE lens. And I just think that you could really just take that ball and run with it on both sides. And then like you could literally use those two different shows having such distinct concepts to even have character progression depending on which show you're on. Maybe when you go to SmackDown, your wild and wacky character that was just on Raw has to become more serious, and they have to start trying to win matches more, and they start to have to like take it more seriously and stuff like that. And it's like that's just never going to happen. But I'll never forget just the possibilities and the idea that we could have had if the WWE wanted to really run with it, because that's just so cool and interesting to me. And again, it comes back to what I was saying earlier. They're going to do what they want, and they're going to keep making money despite themselves. So whatever.
Question?
Yep. Third or fourth question from Super Blue. This is actually just for you, John, because I protested at the time. He said, "Why are you okay with Adam Cole's ball shoryukens to Jay Lethal and Hangman Adam Page? I thought the Church of Cole was above such cheap antics."
How can I put this kindly? You don't know anything? And I don't really appreciate that tone. The Church of Cole believes in the prosperity of Adam Cole and nothing else, because if you actually did your fucking research, you'd understand that he's a gift to this planet. He's probably the reason you're able to breathe at all. You're welcome. So he's able to hit who's ever nuts he fucking damn well pleases. That's my answer to that question. I can't even believe I dignified that with a response. Please get on to the next question.
Fifth and final question from Super Blue is literally just a tweet that he wanted us to respond to. I'll send it to you on Facebook, actually, just to make sure that we get this on the right page. There you go.
What
So,
a what a
for
rousing
those of
Badger question.
you for those of you who I obviously are in chat or are listening to this as a VOD, it is a question. You can pick two. You can only pick two. What are they? And the options are Bill Nye the Science Guy, Planet Earth, Cosmos, and MythBusters.
I'm not emotionally invested in this question. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna pick Bill Nye because I did legit grow up on that shit. MythBusters always seem cool conceptually to me, so I guess I'll go with that one. So Bill Nye and MythBusters for me.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, God.
I just never watched a lot of these, so I don't mean to like be mean to the question. It's just
Right.
like again, Bill Nye was childhood, and MythBusters, I guess I was always curious about. So
Planet Earth, I think, is the one that I think you and I both agree we can just roll out immediately because, like, is it nice to have? Sure, but is it vital? Uh, no, not at all. Bill Nye, I
but
think, absolutely is vital. I think that's like the only one that's like a truly locked in. Like, we have to keep this around because it literally helps younger kids who find science boring understand science in a more interesting way. But I'm torn between Cosmos and Mythbusters, honestly. I think honestly, I'm gonna go with MythBusters because I think Cosmos was always perceived as boring, and like that's the exact problem that Bill Nye manages to overcome, right? And so if we can get a version of Cosmos that isn't Cosmos that makes learning about the galaxy and the history of humanity and the Earth and stuff like that actually interesting and not the boring show, that's a huge W. So I'm gonna agree with you and say Bill Nye and MythBusters.
All right. Next
Because
set of
like
questions.
it's one of those things where like you've succeeded in educating when people don't know they're being educated and you're just entertaining them first.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the best kind of edutainment is what does exactly that. So yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. All right. So I think Adam Ruins Everything should be on that list too. That would actually make it more difficult for me than fucking Planet Earth.
I
All right.
agree. Yeah, I agree for sure.
Next set of questions are from Abel, and the first question here is actually one that he posted in the Q&A channel 1 hour into our last Q&A. And I was like, Abel, we've been live for an hour. And he was just like, okay, hold it for next month. So I did. And it is the question, besides owning a tapeworm, what were some of your biggest childhood dreams?
Is this for both of us or just for me? Because I
It
was the
is
tapeworm.
it is for both of us, but the tapeworm thing was obviously directed at you.
Oh God, I love you, son. I feel like I have to say that every recording now, especially that you're involved. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I had the prototypical childhood dream, world domination. Actually, almost really got me in trouble and almost ruined my life, but that might be a story for
What?
another time.
This is real?
Yeah,
Holy
yeah, no,
shit.
that's real. Yeah. Actually,
Wow.
since you had that reaction, I might as well tell the story if you don't mind me taking up airtime.
Dude, feel
Um,
free.
so like if I'm being honest and I'm being vulnerable with you guys because I just want to tell this story from my perspective.
You've got
I
me
feel like there are
excited.
probably a excuse me.
I said you've got me excited.
I probably don't pick up like on a lot of social cues that I should. Even as an adult, it's really awkward, and that's why I just want to be introverted and be with my books. People are hard. Um, so I think it was like maybe I don't think it was sixth grade. I don't think it was sixth grade. It was elementary school. I know that for sure. And it was my math teacher. And it really hurt because I always thought he was like a really cool guy. He had a kid that was disabled, like I was. I think it was a different disability, but I could see it. And I always asked about him and how the family was doing. And I always had the bit of like, oh, taking over the world, evil stuff like that. At one time, he even led the class in like singing "Give Peace a Chance," and I was like, no, no, like I thought we were all having fun. So then one day, like he just kind of said, like, don't ever say that in my class again. I think he got concerned by like how into it I was. And he's like, don't ever say that in my class again. I'm like, okay. We have a personal talk about he and I was very understanding. Totally cool. I get off the school bus and my grandmother is incensed. Incensed. And I'm like, what is she so upset about? It was my IEP that day, which is always like this individual assessment in the school system. You get it all the way up to like the end of high school because then they ask you about college. I hated these fucking things. I think one of the best things about being emancipated, just not only out of my old life, but out of the educational system, is not having to deal with those fucking meetings anymore. Because they would always talk, and like I was always just so nervous because my grandmother's very imposing, mentally and stuff like that. And then the school always thinks they know best. And really, again, just speaking from my experience, being disabled and not being in a situation that really understands disability, at least in a healthy way, is always going to be very hard. So she tells me that the meeting was going on normal. I'm like, yeah, it should. I was good. I didn't really think I got in anything. Apparently, my math teacher comes in, and he had apparently also written this in the written report. And he said that he had fears of me one day becoming a school shooter and like a mass shooter type thing.
Right.
Now keep in mind, I ambulated on crutches and shit, and I don't even remember how old I was, but I was a fucking child. And he had this concern. Well, my grandmother, who this is the one time that I really benefited from her being very image conscious and a narcissist, just tore him a fucking new one because she knew like how bad that would look if that followed in my report. Thank God she got that taken out of my IEP. I feel like that would have followed me all the way to high school. So yeah, be careful who you share your childhood dreams with, kids, because some people will just forget that, imagination's a part of life and they'll try and paint you as a future mass shooter. By the way, I've never picked up a gun. And in fact, I hate the gun range on our property that I fucking live on. So funny how that kind of stuff works out. So yeah, that was one childhood dream I had that got quickly squashed when you really see the real world implications. Um, Inventor. I definitely wanted to be an inventor in my younger years. Did I ever tell you the story how like we did these like videos of like lives of famous inventors, and there was like these animated movies. I thought they were so cool. They did one on Edison. I will always say
Oh
whenever this
God.
stuff comes up, fuck Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
Tesla should have gotten his own animated movie. You fucks. Um, and then our class project was to make our own invention, and me just
Wait. You cut
brimming.
out there. Your class project was to make what?
Make your own invention
Oh,
kind of
okay.
thing. So I made a portable toilet, literally like a toilet that you could press the button of and it folds into like a little mini cube that you could put in a suitcase and just take your own toilet with you wherever you go.
Nice.
Because I'm like, who wants to sit on another person's toilet? That's gross. That's weird. So you know, that was what I was fucking burning with. See, I wanted to be an inventor for a long time. And then I got disillusioned because you know you think about engineering and mathematics, and I always sucked at that. Then obviously play commentary. I think was like my stream that you could like designate in a period known as childhood slash like young adolescence. And then obviously, you know, I kind of get to live that dream with TwitWoW, especially when we do live reaction Stardom and stuff. But now as like an adult, like philosophy is just my passion, my focus, everything. So yeah, that's kind of my trajectory there. I'm more curious to hear your answer on this thing. So what about you?
I mean, compared to your childhood, mine seems pretty boring because when I was very young, before I had any concept of money, I wanted to be a vet because I've always loved animals. I've always wanted to work with animals. And then my next dream was literally discovering that capitalism exists, learning that you have to make money, and literally just picking the job that I thought would make me the most money, which was lawyer. So, and I
Huh.
also like justified it by saying like, "Oh, I love arguing. I want to be a professional arguer."
Yeah, it makes sense to me, man. Fuck.
So yeah, that was it for the most part. When I was in high school, I went into uh, couple different branches. One branch that I went into was coding. I was learning how to do like first it was C++, then it was Visual Basic, then it was Java were the three languages that I learned in high school. And I was also the whole time I was in high school doing architectural drafting kind of stuff. So I guess that in that sense, you could say that there were points in my life that I wanted to be a computer scientist and an architect, and then I went to school for web design and fucking hated it within the first year. So that was that.
Awesome, man. I love that. All right, next question.
Next question from Abel. Thoughts on Descartes' "I think, therefore I am" philosophical principle?
Oh god damn it. You know, I love that I'm the guy that's like, all right, Ashton, in and out, 20-minute adventure, you know, Rick and Morty energy with my fucking internet. And yet, God, I could go on about this one more than Abel probably thinks. So, obviously, Descartes' I think, therefore I am was foundational to modern philosophy because it introduces the notion of the subject, which just opens up a whole new realm of discourses. Um, I've loved what certain disabled colleagues of mine have said that it's kind of rooted in a kind of ableism because thinking precedes existing. So you could almost make the case institutionally and culturally, right, that if you're not thinking at a certain threshold or what is culturally acceptable, that you're just kind of maligned, that you don't exist. I've always preferred Jose Ortega y Gasset's I am, therefore I think, because I think it inverts the formula. It emphasizes life and then thought rather than thought over life. But you know, there are some people like my friend Angel hates Descartes, for instance, because he believed that animals had no souls. He deduced that by doing some very disturbing dissections. But you know, as far as that formula, it's inspired a lot of great literature, which I'm hoping to read. I know, for example, Foucault, when he does his sociological study of madness, says that Descartes' extreme doubt it almost makes madness foundational to philosophy, and I just find that to be a very fascinating idea because you're talking about a guy that his epistemological skepticism just goes so far that he's left with nothing, and then he has to slowly rebuild it block by block. And then, of course, the biggest belief being the belief in God. Funny thing, Early on in my philosophy career, I want to say when I was in like my first year or two, I always had this like pet theory that Descartes was secretly an atheist, but he didn't want to go that far with his epistemological skepticism because of church authority. So, obviously he takes care of God first, and the deceptive demon, like what if a demon's putting these phantasma in front of me or whatever and deceiving me? I always thought, like, did he ever want to go further with it? A lot of people reject this. I think it's just safe to go with their authority on it because these people actually studied Descartes extensively. But yeah, his influence on both secular thinking and theological thinking alike um, really cannot be understated. You may hate Descartes, but you got to go through him if you do what I do. And yeah, I think it's a very pithy but brilliant formulation that affected so much of Western thought. So, probably more than what you bargained for, Abel, but yeah, that's what you get. So, next question.
No, I guarantee you that was exactly what Abel bargained for. I promise.
There you go. All right,
By
what do
the
we
way, that
got?
wasn't just for you. That was for both of us.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, he and I were actually having a whole conversation about existence and stuff in the Discord server the other night, and he brought up, I think, therefore I am, and I basically said, first of all, Descartes doesn't make the rules of reality, and second of all, how do you know you think?
I think other scholars have come forward with that. I know, again, a lot's been written on Descartes, both
Yeah, we were
for and
discussing we
against.
were discussing the simulation theory and how like it's possible that all of what we know as reality is actually just a simulation, and
Right.
this idea that like you might think you're thinking, but you've just been programmed to think you're thinking.
Right. The whole like brain of that argument that I've
Right.
also heard is popular in philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was what this whole thing stemmed from was, and then I think that there were like two questions away from another similar question, three questions away, um, to something else that got brought up in the Discord that you weren't around for. But yeah, basically the whole thing is like I think therefore I am. And by the way, I didn't know about Descartes not thinking animals had souls. That's really interesting to me.
Yeah, again, Angel fucking hates him for it because Angel's like a big animal person, and you know what he's gone through recently.
Right.
So
Yeah. No,
when,
I
yeah,
understand. Yeah. No, but like I kind of get why Angel would say that. But like, you know me, I don't think there's such thing as a soul. I think souls are made up things that we tell ourselves to make us feel better than everything else. But like,
I mean, it's funny you say that because the whole philosophical problem. I don't want to get too far away from your question, Abel, so I do apologize. But like the whole philosophical problem that Descartes had to deal with souls, because he also wanted to defend that idea, because obviously Descartes is what we call a substance dualist. He believed that there were two substances, matter and soul. Soul being obviously distinct from matter. But like, how do we, or excuse me, not how do we? Let me start over there. The problem with substance dualism that it has to defend, if the soul's immaterial, and it had to be immaterial for a lot of thinkers, right? Because then it means that it's not perishable, that it endures, etc., etc. So how does an immaterial body causally interact with a material body?
right.
That's always been the problem for the philosophy of substance dualism. And I think Descartes, if I remember this correctly, and don't quote me on this because right now I'm steeped in Roman philosophy, but that's another story for another time. So I haven't been able to be with the moderns for a little bit. I think he said that the soul was situated in the pineal gland, which was
Oh
like
my
really
god,
fucking funny.
that's
But
that's probably why he did the fucking dissections to see if he could fucking find it.
well, yeah, yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, well, it's not here, so I guess it doesn't exist." And then like it's
Did he ever dissect humans to look for the answer there?
oh, dude, let's. I don't even know, and I don't even know if I want to know. That's some horrifying fucking shit, right there. But like, that's the
Right?
problem though with Cartesian thought, though, right? Is that I think, therefore, I am. Again, I would argue, and maybe this is a bit hyperbolic. I'm speaking purely in terms of philosophy, my wheelhouse. I would say he and Plato are like cornerstones of Western civilization. Only because, again, the concept of the subject, which I think only now is really coming into question, even though Eastern thought's been like, first time, huh? Uh, you know, the subject I think was so foundational, but I think another problem with it, and really we're seeing the consequences of it today. When you have a subject, he always treated it like an automaton. I think he had a very machinic understanding of human existence.
Right.
And he does this whole thing. I don't know if it was discourse on method or what, but where he talks about like the human anatomy and he breaks it down and he's speaking about it in very machinic terms, or at least what passed for machines in his time.
Right.
And is kind of a parallel to that. he always talked about how nature was like inert, just raw material to be appropriated by man, to make technologies, make civilizations, this and that. Obviously, we see the consequence of that view of nature being kind of what Heidegger would call a standing reserve. Climate change is out of fucking control. But yeah, that's the thing. If you ride with Descartes, I think his idea did birth some great concepts for any civilization. But on the other hand, when you look at who really got to dictate those concepts and the discourses and what could be done with those concepts, maybe not so much. So I'm kind of
Oh God.
ambivalent. That's the
Yeah.
word I always like to use. I'm ambivalent about Descartes at the moment.
Yeah, I think I definitely get where you're coming from. Um, but yeah, I don't mean to like disrespect Descartes or anything. I just feel like yeah, like just because he said something that gets quoted a lot doesn't make it fact, right?
No. I mean that's straight up a logical fact. Like that's an appeal to authority. Like oh well,
Exactly.
Descartes
Yeah.
said it. Well that doesn't no. Like as a philosopher,
I
no.
like
Like
who was the guy
obviously
that you said the I am therefore I think because I like that a
oh,
lot.
that
But
was funniest fucking thing about that. He was a Spanish philosopher. His name is Jose Ortega y Gasset. And it's funny because he is known politically to be conservative, and yet, like, I know the essay where that quote comes from. I haven't read it. I used to own it before my digital library got destroyed. Sorry, I'm gonna need a minute. But yeah, I hope to get that essay back. He called the concept ratio vitalism, that like life generates thought, thought doesn't create life. And I've always found that very affirming because it shows that all life contains thought, even those that you would consider to be yeah, I mean, the ableist language that I'm thinking of using that I won't use, but people that are very neurologically, say, disabled or
yeah,
anything like that, there's
right.
still thought. You just have to know how to understand it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I find Gasset inversion of Cartesianism to be very inspiring and very worthwhile, honestly.
I forget.
So,
Was it an episode of Alphas or an episode of Haven where the woman was able to communicate using a brush? Like she would like run her fingers along the brush in a certain pattern that allowed them to be able to translate it to what sounded like speech. I think that was Alphas, right?
I feel like that's more alphas than
Yeah.
Haven to me.
Yeah.
That sounds more alphas than
It's
Haven to me.
kind of along those lines though, because if you just run into her, you'd think, oh, like she's basically a vegetable, right? But no, like she's a
Yeah,
thinking. Yeah, exactly. I
exactly.
totally see where you're coming from.
God, see, that's a whole other discourse I'd be so inspired to have. But obviously, this is a Q&A, not like the John Philosophy Hour.
Right.
So yeah,
So like,
we can move on.
but I wasn't even done, believe it or not. I was actually going to extend my thought to like the idea that Descartes, the whole comment on animals not having souls and stuff. It almost sounds to me like he's almost substituting the concept of a soul with almost just like a self-awareness, right? With like almost like that third layer. You have the id and then the ego, but like the super ego, like the ability to be
Right.
aware of oneself and one's actions, and self-criticize and that kind of stuff. Basically, the thing that everyone fears AI will become.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think there's some merit to that. Dude, I actually think a lot of thought, especially when you read like the ancients, and by that I mean the Greeks. I think a lot of people just had this understanding of soul as
Sentience, that's the
consciousness.
word. Sentience.
Yeah, sentience. Yeah. I think a lot of people had this understanding of soul as simply another way to say consciousness, but then I think it got a bit more nuanced as you go throughout the centuries, because then obviously the God concept
Right.
and stuff like that. Yeah, man. Fuck. All right.
All right.
I
Next
feel good. If there's
question.
anything more you want to say, you can do it.
Third question from Abel. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
I never cared for Tootsie Pops, so
Oh,
5.
I love Tootsie Pops. I haven't had one in a while, but they're really good. The chocolate ones are the best, but I also really like the cherry ones, and I think the grape ones are really good too.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we go by the commercial, the owl says 3.
Yeah. Fuck that owl.
Wow. Okay. You realize that was something that people say about Impact Wrestling, right? Because they're owned by a company whose mascot is an owl.
I forgot about that actually. Oh yeah, but you're right.
Uh,
Again,
he's,
I'm really feeling my douche self lately, but no, I'm gonna restrain myself. One's enough. One's
I think
enough.
the first person to really say "fuck that owl" publicly that got people saying it was actually Matt Hardy's wife, Rebby.
Of course. That doesn't surprise me at all.
All right, let's move on. Our fourth question from Abel: when can we do an Among Us session with AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Pokimane?
When we're actually worth their goddamn time.
Right? I was gonna say when one of us randomly goes viral and gets fucking famous for no reason.
Exactly.
Oh God. Uh, I do love all three of them though. I will say that.
All right, next question.
Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't love Pokimane. She's all right. She's all right. I love AOC and Ilhan though. Which brings us to our fifth question, kind of. What is a woman? Literally, Abel's question is, what is a woman?
No, I'm not doing this, son. Go to your room.
I actually answered this, and I think I answered it pretty well. A woman is a person who identifies as a woman. Fuck your tautology. That's what it is, goddammit.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad I decided not to double down so you could. All right, next set of questions.
Literally, like it's bringing it back to the new woman that Biden wants to get on the Supreme Court to replace. I think is it Clarence Thomas is getting kicked off the Supreme Court. They're getting not vetoed, impeached.
No, I didn't think it had to do with Thomas's spot. I
Oh.
thought somebody else was retiring.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, the one Marsha Blackburn, the one senator, literally asked this woman, "What is a woman?" or if she could define the word woman for her, and she said, "No, I can't. I'm not a biologist." Which, I mean, that's fair. But then I came in and I was literally just like, "A woman is a person who prefers to be identified as a woman. Why is that so hard?" And
Yeah.
then I followed it up with like, if you call someone a woman and they're like, "Excuse me, I'm not a woman," then they're not a woman. Whereas if you refer to someone as something else other than a woman and they're like, "Excuse me, I'm a woman," then they're a fucking woman. Like, why? Why is that so hard?
I don't know, dude. Making mountains out of fucking
I
molehills.
know. If Abel would have said, "What is a female?" because that's a sex, not a gender. Then we could have said someone with, an X and a Y chromosome. No, two X chromosomes, not a Y chromosome. I don't even know, honestly. It's probably even more complicated than that because of like different genetic diseases that people can have and things like that. But he said was a woman, so we're answering what is a woman, right?
Yes.
Next set of questions are from Dominique Adams, Domo Adams. I don't think he's here right now. I haven't seen him in chat, but hopefully he's able to hear this. First question from Dominique: are you finally ready? This is actually just for you, John. This is a question for you. Are you finally ready to admit that Momo made the right decision to join a better family in Oedo?
I think I am, actually.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
think
say,
I
I
am.
feel like you kind of already did recently, and it was just like your realization came in between him asking this question and you getting to answer it, so it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, Momo, because when Miyu surpasses you, I mean, you didn't want to have to retire, and now you won't have to because you're like, well, at least I'm still one of the best in Oedo Tai. Yeah, you're the best wrestler in a faction that prides itself on cheating. Way to really raise the bar for yourself, Momo. Good job.
Wow. Okay. Second question from Dominique. If you could create your own unit in Stardom, all roster members available, what would be your dream faction?
Um, how many? Okay, let me ask you this. I don't want to use DDM as our standard. What's the average number of people in a Stardom faction? 5?
You know what? Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know what the average is, but let's just stick with 5. I think 5 is a really good number of people to have.
Kyrie, Natsupoi, Mina, Kamitani, and Momokogo. I'll go with that.
Damn, I love it. That's a dope faction too. Do you want to even bother to try and name it, or you just want to say the faction members?
Oh no! I'm leaving the table while it's hot. The name's gonna suck. So you go next.
All right. It's just cute though because you have pirates in your team. You have Natsupoi
Yes.
and Kyrie,
Yeah.
so you have like a built-in tag team there with pirates. And then yeah, Kamitani, Kogo, and who else? Who am I missing? Mina.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really cool faction. I love it. All right. Maybe we could call them Kabuki Pirates.
Ooh. Ooh. All right. I'm curious what you're gonna assemble.
All right, all right. So in my mind, I want to be very structured about this. You pretty much just chose Kyrie and her friends and your favorites.
Yes.
So I'm gonna try and be more structured about this. I'm gonna pick a main eventer, a mid carder. Actually, no. a main eventer, a tag team, a high speed, and a rookie. So my main eventer, I think I actually do want to go. Well, uh, main eventer is going to be. Oh God, this is going to take me way too long. Actually, you know what? Let me pull up Stardom's website and I'll pull up the roster page. That's easier.
Fuck yeah. Do the research. Do that deep dive.
Thanks, bud. All right, so my choices for main eventer are Mayu, Utami, Saya, Momo, Julia, Tam, Shuri. All right. You know what? I got butterflies when I realized that Utami was an option, so I'm gonna pick her as my main eventer. So Utami's my main eventer. My tag team, I think I'm gonna mix it up a little bit for my tag team, and I'm gonna do a tag team that isn't a tag team yet, but I think would be a really good tag team if they did go ahead and get together, and that is Kamitani and Hazuki.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. My high speed, I guess we're only allowed to use Stardom members. Otherwise, I would love to go with like Mei Surugo or Mei Shizuki or Miyu Momono. But if we're stuck only being able to use members of the actual roster, the active roster, my high speed person, I guess I'll cheat a little bit and go with Starlight Kid because technically she is high speed.
Yeah, awesome. I love that.
And then my rookie's Miyu Masaki. That's just easy.
Awesome. That's so pure.
Actually, fuck it. I'll keep Azumi too instead of Kid, and we'll just have 4 of the current 6 members of Queen's Quest, and replace Lady C and Hina with Hazuki. That's a trade up if I've ever seen it.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's OP. Yeah, that works. All right, there's your faction, Dom. Third question. Are you willing to sit through a 30-minute Charlotte Flair versus Mai Sakurai encounter? Yes. Immediately,
Wait,
I'm
for
saying
what?
yes. Because it's like a train wreck, dude. You never know what's going to happen.
They might even try and shoot on each other.
Bro, right? Charlotte's going to try and do way too much. And Mai isn't going to know what to do about it. And she's probably going to shut down and have an emotional breakdown in the middle of the ring. And
The
then
evil
Charlotte
side of
slaps her and tells her to get up and keep going.
the evil side of me is loving everything you're saying right now. Let's do it.
I'm
Let's
telling you.
do it.
I'm telling you. That's the train crash TV that I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I'll answer yes. He sold me. He actually fucking sold me. Let's do it. Let's ruin some lives.
Oh, and by the way, my Stardom faction's name is QQ Legacy.
Oh, nice. I didn't know if you gave a name at the beginning, and I just forgot, so I didn't want to intrude and be like,
No.
did you give it a name? But yeah,
No.
that's awesome.
Yeah. QQ Legacy because it features QQ members throughout the years, including the original, the first person to join, or I guess technically the second person to join because Momo was the first. But yeah, like one of the 2 originals, the first person to join on purpose that didn't get recruited, that actually just wanted to join, and then we've got the 2 most recent, or not really the 2 most recent because of Lady C, but Kamitani in there and Utami and Miyu. Yeah, it's really cool. I like it. Anyway, let's move on to our 4th and final question from Dominique because he did only ask 4. I told him he could have gone to 5, but I guess he just didn't have any other ones. Would a promo face-off between Malcolm Bivens and Paul Heyman be a once-in-a-lifetime moment?
Yes. That's it. Just yes, abso-fucking-lutely. Especially for those that are cultured and enjoy quality promos, that would be fucking amazing. Give me a front row seat to that.
Damn, I was gonna say no because it wouldn't be a promo face-off. It would be a fucking one-sided beatdown by our King Malcolm.
Yeah, but Biv Nasty. I saw the clip of him calling himself that. I love that Ivy Nile corpses every time Malcolm Bivens talks. It's the fucking best.
Oh, I kind of want to see that
now. Let me find it. I'll send it to you on Facebook.
Anyway, our next question is the first rotten butter question, as always.
So I've been watching a lot of reality TV with the fam because we like to just, chill out like
Brain rot.
sassy. Yeah, brain rot, chill out with like some sassy cat slumlords. Yeah. So we've been doing like Love is Blind. I know we did The Circle
Oh
recently.
my god.
What was the other? I think was Love Island one. I think Love Island was one. That one's really
Temptation
awkward.
Island, maybe?
No, I've been wanting to watch that one, but this is Love Island. Yeah, there is one called Love Island, and it's pretty awkward, but it's good. It's good. We're all chill. We've been watching The Witcher season 2. I know Ashton, you and I, we are a bit behind on Bel Air. We're now 3 episodes behind. But we're gonna, do that. We did Moon Knight just today because my internet has been very uncooperative, and we've been meaning to do that for a while. But thankfully, we got that in. What other shows have I been watching with the fam? Oh, we started watching. Is it Demon Slayer or Demon Hunter? I think it's Demon Slayer, the anime, and that's very interesting. I don't know when we're gonna go back to that though. I think we watched the first like 4 episodes. I want to say.
Hmm.
So that happened. Uh, Obviously, just the usual games between Ash and I, Rocket League, which we also haven't touched in a while because again, internet. Um, and yeah, I've just been doing the usual academic reading. Really, nothing out of the ordinary there. What else? Anything new in music? I'm trying to think about. No, I don't think any of the bands that I like have done anything new. Although I know Mosaic is teasing something. Very excited. So yeah, I think I'm actually gonna just wrap it up here. I'll hand it over to you, Ashton. What do you want to talk about?
This has been basically my Yu-Gi-Oh month. I've basically gotten back into being obsessed with not necessarily current day Yu-Gi-Oh. I literally couldn't name you a card that has come out in the last like year or two. But just the idea of Yu-Gi-Oh and like the meta over time. I've been following a couple series on YouTube. The one big one is the History of Yu-Gi-Oh series by Simo, who is a Yu-Gi tuber, and then he's got another one called the Progression series, but I don't have as much fun with that one because it's not really meant to be like, oh, the history of what the best possible decks were, every big tournament or whatever. It's more about like each time a new booster pack comes out, we're going to open a bunch of them and make a deck out of it. And that's kind of cool, but it's not necessarily as much my speed as the History of Yu-Gi-Oh series, which unfortunately is still ongoing and is only up to like 2013, I think, so far. Obviously, if that would be completely done, I would have watched all of it by now. But I also ended up watching a few episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, which was actually pretty fun. It's weird. It's actually much more like fantasy, I want to say, than sci-fi, which I feel like the Yu-Gi-Oh series that we're all used to with Yu-Gi and Kaiba and stuff in it is more like much more sci-fi than fantasy, with very few fantasy elements in it. Whereas Zexal, from what I've seen, is much more fantasy with just a few sci-fi elements in it.
Very
Um,
interesting.
well, yeah, like there's like a spirit that needs to be unleashed or unlocked or something by finding a certain amount of cards. It's super like there's no rules. It's magic is what it comes down to. I don't feel like we've really watched that much this month, have we? I know we watched Diabolical. The Boys Presents Diabolical. We want to get around
Yeah,
to the Big Mouth spinoff, Human
human
Resources.
resources. Yeah.
We've been keeping up with Fresh Prince, or not. It's not even called Fresh Prince. It's just called Bel Air. But we've been keeping up with that. That's great. But I think we had already started watching that during our last Q&A because I think we recommended it. Um, let's see. Yeah, I think most of my free time is dedicated to either the NFL draft or when I'm not in the mood for that, Yu-Gi-Oh right now, just for the last month. Like anytime I get free time on the computer, I'm either working on draft related stuff, whether it's research or spreadsheets or just having discussions about it with other people, or I am trying to learn like how Yu-Gi-Oh evolved over time, basically. And I'm still in the process of that, so it's kind of tough. Yeah, that's pretty much been my month though. Like it sounds uneventful, but like it's amazing how much time you can spend doing either one of those things when you just really dive down that rabbit hole.
Absolutely, man.
All
Sure.
right, so then let's get to our second question from Rotten Butter. You know what? He posted a really long question, and I shortened it probably to the point that it's barely even intelligible. So I'm just gonna pull his comment up and read it verbatim. Hypothetical time. You have access to a time machine that can only travel back in time and then return to its original time. You know that it will work, but have absolutely no idea what possible ramifications time travel would have on the universe. Do you take the risk of using it? If so, what do you do with it? If not, do you destroy it to prevent anyone else from using it?
I think the honest answer, and that's kind of the direction I'm going in, is just the honest answer, is absolutely you use it. I think the impulse of human curiosity is so strong in a lot of admittedly mundane situations. So that if you get something extraordinary like that, it's going to be overwhelming, dude. So, like, yeah, if I'm thinking about myself, I'd love to be sober and rational and be like, no, rotten butter, it's too risky. I'd protect humanity and destroy it. But no, I'd absolutely use it. Now the deeper question is, what would I use it for? Because I mean, I'm pulled in so many different directions. You know, the wrestling fan in me might want to go back to WrestleMania 20 and watch Chris Benoit win the world title live. The philosophy nerd in me might want to go to Greece or Revolutionary France. Again, my two favorite periods philosophically, or 20th century France even, which kind of has its risks because you know Nazi occupation and shit. Um, so like, yeah, I'm pulled in a lot of different directions, so I don't really know how I'd use it. I guess I would maybe try and be the hero, like you see in the TV shows, you know, the ones where they go back in time to like stop Lincoln's assassin or JFK's assassin. I would maybe try and stop the death of Socrates, just see what happens there, how that all unfolds. But yeah, I think that's just my honest answer. Is absolutely I would use it. I'm not above that. I think human curiosity would just be way too overwhelming. I'm more curious about your answer though, bro. Specifically, if you would use it, where would you go with it? So, what about you?
Bro, was it an a TikTok or a YouTube short or like I don't even know what it was. There was this dude that was like, "Bro, I invented a time machine. I'm gonna go back and stop the assassination of Sir Archduke Ferdinand." And he's just like, "Wait, no, you don't know what ramifications it could have." And he's just like, "What do you mean? It would solve literally every problem." And he goes, and then before he gets back, this dude was looking at a page that had anime on it, and then he was looking at a Google page, and he types anime, and it comes up with zero results because apparently the death of Archduke Ferdinand, which led to like world wars and shit like that, also led to the creation of
Holy shit!
anime. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind is preventing that and seeing how the world ends up after that. But like, I don't know. I think another thought would be like just completely selfish, go back to like 2008 and tell myself to invest in Bitcoin, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Younger Ashton, here's how you get rich. Don't fuck this up for me.
Don't forget your goddamn wallet password, bitch.
Expect that to pop me so hard. Fuck. Alright, yeah, no, I get that, man. I get that absolutely.
So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Where to either like go back and prevent some major world-changing event that might have like incredible positive ramifications for all of society, or if that doesn't work, just put yourself in a better position. I guess that's all I would really need to do, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Fuck the time stream.
All right. Third and final question from Rotten Butter. You're gonna love this one, John. I know I did when I read it. Do you really wanna? Do you really wanna taste it?
Joe was so fucking good. Oh my god. Can't wait for season 2.
Hell yeah! All right. Let's get to our next set of questions, which are from Hazard, aka Gillis.
Nice.
Who's the perfect woman wrestler to join the Blackpool Combat Club? Choose one from AEW, one from WWE, and that includes all of WWE, so NXT and NXT UK included, and one from Stardom. Then out of that pool of three each, decide who the best fit would be for BCC.
Okay, for me, AEW immediately, I think Serena Deeb. Because she's the
Oh, that's interesting.
professor,
Okay.
which I think, is like a great wrestler, which is the whole thing about Blackpool Fighting Club. Now, I know Moxley's like more of a brawler and Danielson's a wrestler, but they're just really fucking good at what they do, right?
Right.
So, Serena Deeb is what I think immediately. AEW. WWE, it's a bit of a hard one. I would say Becky if we could tweak the character some. because she's all about, the disarmor and, kind of that technical type wrestling, working the arm and stuff. Although, admittedly, again, I will admit that I feel like my WWE answer is my weakest answer. I'm not really very fond of that, but just what I think of. Stardom. Stardom. If these people would then go on to recruit other people as like the future, so maybe Deeb would continue to be the professor, say, and like train other young women, then I'd want to start with vets, but then they give their knowledge back because that's what I see the whole point as being. So immediately I think of people like Mayu and stuff like that, but I think Shuri would be the best fit there, just because again of like her wrestling style, I think is very complimentary to Blackpool Fight Club. Um, but, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Deeb. I'm really just gonna stick with Deeb as the best fit because one, it just comes from AEW, so it's grounded in realism, and two, like yeah, I feel like her feeling so knowledgeable and squashing these people in 5 minutes and stuff like that. Like if you just adjust the character slightly to where it's like, you know what, I am a professor, I'm damn good at what I do, but like I don't want to destroy, I want to build. Well, I want to build and destroy at the same time. Like the way Danielson fucking built Yuta up last night after destroying his face. Yeah, I think Deeb would be the best fit. I'd love to see her in that faction.
So
So, what about you, bro?
who did you end up picking for Stardom, even though you ended up going with DB1?
Should he
Yeah.
tentatively? Because again, I'm
Right.
thinking about from my perspective that that this faction are veterans that are like flexing their shit for sure. They're kind of similar to the Decade in that way, but they're doing it with the purpose of making a future long term. And so, yeah, that's why I'm going to go with vets, but they give outward. But I still think Serena of the three, her, Becky, and Shuri, would be the best fit. So I'll go with Serena Deeb.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna try not to pick any of the same ones that you picked, so I'm gonna try and actually name three different women. So for AEW, I'm gonna say Jamie Hayter, just because
Love
like
it.
this idea that like Bryan is supposed to be the perfect wrestler, and then like Moxley is like one of Regal's personal greatest rivals. I think Jamie Hayter is sort of the woman in AEW with the most natural talent who's been able to actually use that natural talent but's never really gotten noticed for it. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Like I don't think that Jamie Hayter is like a Moxley in like the way that like we talk about, Moxley had the problems with alcoholism and stuff. I don't think Jamie has really made any of that type of mistake in her career. The type of mistakes that Regal helped Bryan to avoid are the exact type of mistakes that I don't think Jamie has made, you know? And
Right,
then
exactly.
like I don't know if I would call Jamie the perfect wrestler, but I do think that she is a wrestler that you build your women's division around. I think that she can be a cornerstone. So for that reason, I'm going to pick her for them. Plus, she kind of fits like the brawling style, and she's got technical ability as well. For WWE though, I honestly can't think of a better person to be in this club in WWE than Shayna Baszler.
That's a great pick. I wish I would have thought of her. That's fantastic.
Right, because like she's got the technical stuff down, so she and Bryan could like roll around the mat and just kind of grapple, as training. She's got the brawling style down, so she has that in common with Moxley. She seems to keep it clean out of the ring. Like she has the whole thing with Dakota Kai, and like her idea of a good prank isn't anything dangerous or scary. It's literally just jumping jump scaring Dakota Kai while she's playing a horror game. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it's
she strikes
harmless.
me as a very wholesome person outside of the ring while being a complete badass inside of the ring.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I'll go with her. And then for Stardom, I think I'm actually going to go with this choice as my final answer, and that's Utami.
Ooh, that's good. That's
Because
really
like
good.
you want to talk about because here's the thing with Utami, right? I don't know if I've ever seen somebody take to wrestling as immediately and as well immediately as she did. Like immediately, literally from day one, you could tell that she just got it. Like she just has this sort of innate understanding of how wrestling works and what you need to do to be a good wrestler and how, certain things, need to happen in certain order and stuff like that. Like I don't know how to describe it, but like, actually, I do know how to describe it. This is the perfect way to put it. You see a match between her and Shuri, right? And at no point in that match do you think, damn, Shuri is out wrestling the shit out of Utami right now. Or damn, Shuri is really putting that veteran experience to work. Or damn, Utami with the rookie mistake. None of those thoughts ever cross your mind. And yet, Shuri is what, like a 15-year pro at this point? Shuri has been wrestling since 2008. So a 13 and a half year pro. And Utami literally has a decade less experience than her. And you would never guess that from just watching them wrestle. Because Utami is just that much of a fucking natural at this. And it helps, like, from an age standpoint, right? She's literally only 23 years old. So, like, there's like this incredible like veteran wisdom in this ridiculously young woman. So yeah, like you want to talk about the perfect wrestler as in Bryan Danielson. I think Utami might be the perfect women's wrestler.
Yeah. Damn.
So let's move on. Our second question from Hazard. Pick two wrestlers from New Japan, regardless of factions, for a dream match against Moxley and Danielson. And since you went first on the last one, I want to go first here. Because here's the thing, we've already seen Suzuki versus both of these guys, so we can't pick him for either one of them. I'll tell you what I want to see, though. I want to see Ibushi Danielson.
Ooh. Ooh, I love that.
And as far as Moxley goes, Shingo.
I like that too a lot. For Danielson, I'll say Tanahashi
Ooh.
because I don't think that's happened.
No, it hasn't.
And for Moxley, I'm trying to think about his New Japan run. You know what? Honestly, and I'm only saying this tentatively because I don't think it'll happen, but he's already kind of made a return, and I don't know where it's going to go in New Japan. Shibata, because I don't know how far they're going to go with Shibata being back. Obviously, he wants to come back to the ring. So in an ideal world where that happens, fucking Moxley Shibata, I think would fucking slap, literally and figuratively.
That's
So
actually a great pick. That's a great fucking pick, man. That's awesome.
yeah. All right. Next question.
And especially because I'm looking now, and it turns out Moxley has actually already faced Shingo. They had a match in the G1 the year that Moxley was in the G1.
Oh, see, yeah, no, it's hard, man, because I was trying to remember. Like, I knew obviously like the big rivalry with Juice like stuck out in my mind. So yeah, I just figured Shibata was the safest bet because he only recently has started testing the waters a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you know what? You know how like in the last question we named possibilities and then picked our favorite. I
Yeah,
think Danielson Ibushi out of our two Danielson matches is my favorite. But then yeah, Moxley Shibata is amazing.
yeah. There you go.
All right. Third question from Hazard. What kind of in-depth commentary would you do about Phase 4 of the MCU? What themes/subjects would you touch on?
Let's see. I just want to like get a visualization of Phase 4, so like things come to mind. I
Phase
guess that's the
4
phase
is
we're currently in,
everything
right?
since Endgame.
Oh man. I would definitely want to talk about mythology a little bit because, like, mythology and magic, because a lot of that happens here. You figure like Shang-Chi, literally legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, these super beings. Hell, Spider-Man: No Way Home, we learned that the Peter Tingle, he was able to control it despite like having been forcefully astral projected by Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, literally magic creates this rupture in the fucking multiverse. Thor is a mythological being, Asgard. So yeah, I think mythology would have to be a central theme and like how myth informs the MCU. But I
Well, and
kind of
not
want
to
to
mention,
stop there.
I mean, you already
Yeah.
mentioned Thor, but we literally just watched it, Moon Knight. I mean, the Egyptian gods that are probably going to end up getting not just the Khonshu, not just the moon god, but a bunch of Egyptian gods are probably going to end up having a role in this show.
Yeah, great point. Great point. So I think as an overarching theme, I would definitely want a commentary to focus on mythology and just how mythos informs the MCU and its narrative trajectory and stuff like that. But I actually really like that answer. I normally again do horrible, I feel like, in questions like these. So that's my contribution. What would you want to focus on, dude, if we were
Um,
to do an overall commentary?
I think grief, I think would be my big one because that pretty much covers literally everything. If you think about it, we've got WandaVision is literally an entire show about grief, right? Um,
Yes.
then we've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We've got the woman in that, I forget her name, trying to deal with the fact that things aren't the way that they used to be when half the population was gone. Basically, grieving over the return to normal almost. Um, then we've got Loki, which holy shit, like Loki. I feel like you didn't even mention Loki in your whole thing, and like Loki has so much going on for it. I don't know if
Yes. Yes.
Loki is really that much about. Well, no, yeah, it totally is about grief because like there was that whole thing where they show Loki how his life would have played out if he hadn't gotten the space stone and teleported and gotten caught by the TVA, where it ends up basically that his mom gets killed because he lets the I think frost giants is what they're called or the dark elves or something like that get
Yeah.
into Asgard without fighting them, without preventing them, right? So like there's a whole lot of stuff going on there. Hawkeye, he obviously has his family back, but there's grief over Natasha in a major way. Black Widow, Natasha herself has to grieve over sort of the death of what was once a family unit ish with her and the fucking dad. I forget the guy's name and the mom and Yelena. That whole group. Um, especially everything involving Peter Parker, like Peter Parker basically having to um, lose everything, like including the grieving over the death of Aunt May, and then the death of basically his life as he knew it at the end of the movie. That whole thing, like yeah, there's a huge overarching theme of grief in Phase 4 so far, and obviously it comes back to the result of both Infinity War with everyone dying, and then also Endgame with everyone coming back, and a couple other people also dying. Because, like, really, the first movie after Endgame was Spider-Man: Far From Home, and that was the first movie that happened that was post Blip. Blip being the event that brought everyone back from the snap, and there was so much grief in that movie over the death of Tony Stark, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's all just grief, just people grieving in general. Let's move on to our next question. Our fourth question from Hazard. What are the three feuds you're most interested in to see Kyrie involved in Stardom?
I mean, I'm chomping at the fucking bit for the Kamitani match that I feel like is inevitable. So I hope whoever wins the Cinderella tournament, Kamitani beats them because I really just want Kyrie and her to have their match, and I want it to be for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Kyrie's made so many allusions to the white belt in her promo work so far in Stardom. Um, I think I would like to see Kyrie versus Utami. Yeah, I think Utami, if they're gonna like heat her up again, which I hope they do, and get her back in that world title contention. She's already beaten Mayu. I think it'd be like really cool for Utami as like the former big rookie, it's like the big prospect in Stardom to be like, you know what, just to get back on track, I'd like to beat another Stardom legend. So Kairi-san, you and I have a match. So yeah, Kamitani, Utami, God, all things revolve around Queen's Quest as it fucking should. And honestly, just because she was rocking the eye patch for a little bit, I think Julia and Kyrie could do some really cool fucking shit together. So Kamitani, Utami, Julia. What about you, bro?
I love that. I was actually gonna say Kamitani and Utami as well. Um, I will say though, I think I can still name three without using those two names, even those were going to be my original names. So a big one for me that you didn't mention is Hazuki, because it's like a whole new Hazuki from the Hazuki that Kairi knew when she was around, right?
Right, yeah.
Because when Kyrie was around last, Hazuki hadn't even gone to Oedo Tai yet, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah. So definitely Hazuki. And speaking of people who are brand new now compared to the last time Kyrie knew them, Momo is an easy one as well.
Ooh, I really like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the one that is easy to gloss over because she's already been in the ring with her, it was just as partners rather than as opponents, Mayu.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. Let's get to our fifth and final question from Hazard. What are the three most boring things in wrestling right
Um, three most boring things. I would say, obviously WWE would be like a cat answer because there's obviously like even good things going on in WWE. I just don't have the energy to pay attention to them. I would say Charlotte Rousey for me. Do not give a fuck. I'll also give as like an umbrella answer, like any celebrity involvement. I don't give a fuck. Johnny Knoxville and or Logan Paul. I just don't really care about either. So that's another thing. And then yeah, you know what? I will agree with Foster. House of Torture is fucking awful in New Japan. I'm really, honestly, to focus on New Japan a little bit, because picking on WWE is easy. If you really want to put in effort, look elsewhere. I'm really getting tired of like these sub factions in New Japan. It just reeks of when I feel like NWO was really popular and they wanted to just take that to the absolute fucking limit. So yeah, Rousey, Charlotte, celebrity involvement in WrestleMania, just in general, and then to give New Japan some of the shade, House of Torture for sure. I'm with you on that, Foster, 1000%. So, what about you, bro? What's really boring you out of your fucking mind in wrestling?
now? Well, let's see. The Jericho Appreciation Society for one.
Nice.
Everything involving MJF for two.
Okay.
And first of all, I just want to double down on you with everything involving Charlotte Ronda and celebrity appearances at WrestleMania, whether it's Johnny Knoxville or Logan Paul or whatever the fuck. It's all awful, but that's not going to be my third answer. My third answer, believe it or not, is just going to be the New Japan Cup. I just feel like it's like New Japan finally made a good decision. They put the title on Okada and then immediately made another good decision by having Naito be the first challenger for it, but all of their steam has just run out completely now. And it's really, really sad because I was looking forward to them kind of making their way back into our hearts with the first step being Okada champion, Naito challenger. But now it's just like, I don't give a fuck about the New Japan Cup right now. I don't give a fuck about Zack challenging Okada. We know he's not going to win. Like, to me, that had to either be Sonata or Hiromu for me to care. And they were just like, no, you know what? We don't want to.
You know what, man? I completely just kind of add my 2 cents on your third answer there. I completely get that because you know me with Zach. I would ultimately come down on the side of being a fan of his.
I think I am
Um,
too, though. That's the thing. It's just I
yeah,
don't have any ability to, um, suspend my disbelief when he's challenging Okada for the world
exactly.
title.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like, I know on paper they'll probably have a really good match. Because I don't remember their one at I believe it was Sakura Genesis when he won his first New Japan Cup to be that bad. But again, it's been a long time. But it's just yeah, it's asking too much to suspend my disbelief that Zack, even for as much as he's calm as a babyface in New Japan, can beat Okada. Like, wake me up, especially when Sonata happens.
Yeah.
How the fuck did they screw that up? I don't know. But yeah.
All right. Let's get to our next set of questions and our final set of questions from Alex Foster. First question is for you, John. How would an interaction between you and, he said Seth Kaiba, I'm assuming he means Seto Kaiba, go? Something tells me you'd hate each other.
Okay. See, Foster, unlike the Super Blue question much earlier in the Q&A, you know that you and I have a great rapport. I love literally everything about your existence. You're beautiful. So I'm going to give you a substantive answer, but you're also going to forgive me for being quintessentially me. The first thing I would tell Kaiba is that he should have stepped off the ledge. Abs-fucking-lutely. At Duelist Kingdom, nobody would have cared. In fact, it probably would have improved the series considerably.
But then
So
we
again,
never
that's
would have
why I
gotten
begged
Battle
your
City, though.
yeah, but he lost anyway, so fuck you. Well, I don't know. Then I would have told him, to sleep with one eye open because, we're coming. And then when he says, "Who? Who do you mean?" I'm like, exactly, because I'm not going to answer him. You were already an orphan once. Get ready to be orphaned again from your wealth. And then beyond that, I don't know. Just think of any John trope that you would imagine me saying to Seto Kaiba, and it probably, probably would happen. I'm walking off, and I'd be like, "Oh, by the way, I don't
How
like
you
your
breathe?
face."
Oh,
What were we
I
gonna
picked
say?
the wrong one. I was gonna say how you breathing, asshole.
Well, that would be after he was attacked, which would definitely happen. There
Yeah.
would definitely be physical
I thought
violence.
you were walking
Um,
away from the mangled body as he was already gotten beat up. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. God, there was something else I wanted to say to him, but it kind of slipped my mind. Fuck.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You're beautiful. Unlike Seto Kaiba. But yeah, facially, I find him very inadequate.
His chin is so
And
pointy.
dude, it is like, are like 6 feet, motherfucker? Are you trying to stab me with that fucking thing? Um, so yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah. I would make some snarky remark about how I just attacked his life points directly. And you know what the funny thing is that I understand. I just want everybody to understand that I understand that this wouldn't have any effect on him. He owns a corporation. He's rich. He practically rules the world in which Yu-Gi-Oh is set in. So he would be unbothered by me. But I think the one thing that would bother him is that I know that and I don't care and I'm disrespecting him anyway. And he doesn't like that I don't concede. But see, that's not going to happen. Because I hate him so much. And then honestly, you know what? You know what? There is one more thing. Just because this was a question for me, and I don't want to draw on too long, but I did just think of this. I really, because see, when you go to another universe, right, I feel like the laws don't usually apply. So, assuming that I go to the Yu-Gi-Oh universe and I'm a different character, because all characters in anime, especially like this, never seem to have any health problems unless it's like Shadow Realm or whatever, and they're just, whatever. So, assuming that I have full range of my legs, I just wanted to say, quite candidly, that I would wind mine all the way back, kick him in the nuts, do the how you breathing, as you said, just to bring that back, but then I would take his dual disc, I would take his deck out, and I would just take all the blue eyes in his deck, and I would pull a Grandpa Mudo on him, and I would just rip them up in front of his face. And I'd be like, oh, now I guess you don't own any more blue eyes, bitch. And then I'd scatter it and throw it up in the air, and even if he'd kill me afterwards, I've won. I've taken the
You
one
could
thing
die
that
happy,
matters to
right?
him more than it. Exactly. I could die happy. I've won. I've taken the one thing that matters to him more than anything in this universe. Fuck him. So, yeah, Foster, that was probably really excessive, and I don't know if you regret asking me this question because I very clearly need just every kind of help imaginable. But yeah, I hate him. He can go die in a fire. That's my answer to that question.
All right. Next question is just for me. Why do the Falcons hate me? This is referring to Foster. Why do the Falcons hate Foster? Foster, I hate to tell you this, man, but I don't think the Falcons hate you because I don't think the Falcons know who you are. I don't think the Falcons know who most of their fans are, except for maybe the really rich ones that pay for like box seats and shit. And even then, it's kind of doubtful. The Falcons are a gigantic soulless corporation that just happened to be in the business of a football team. Arthur Blank literally owns Home Depot. Like they're not your friends, man. They're not trying to do anything to make you happy. Um, yeah, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. So just
How candidly you told him all of that. It's like you sit him down gently like a real friend, and you're like, oh, they don't even know who you are. They don't know who any of us are. Oh God. All
third
right.
question for both of us. Finally, WWE has decided to put on their first premium live event in space. Who would put on a great show in zero gravity?
John Morrison before you fired him. Uh, that's immediately who I think about. I think his body was made for space. Think Sasha would kill it. I'd love to see Charlotte botch in zero gravity because that would just be hilarious. Um, I don't know. Bianca could do a lot of crazy visual stuff, right, with her power because zero gravity. It's like
Well, dude, zero gravity, a mouse could lift you up.
exactly. So like, yeah, in a way it's unimpressive, but I just feel like visually it circles back around to being impressive.
You know
Because
what?
oh, look at me, like
I'm
bench
I'm
pressing
gonna I'm
Elvis.
gonna just take over here. I want Omos versus Aziz in space with zero gravity. I want them doing 1080 front flip splashes off the top rope because zero gravity.
Yeah, fuck yeah. All right. I really got nothing else to add. Do you have any more matches that you would like to talk about, or just people that you'd like to see in space?
Otis needs to be there, and he needs to do the most agile things you've ever seen a man his size do.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
can we bring back Samoa Joe because he's already actually just athletic for his size? Like, let's see how much further we can take that.
Hell yeah, I love that idea.
Um, honestly, I'm gonna say AJ Styles because he already does some crazy shit, and I can't even imagine what he would be able to pull out, knowing that like the law of gravity doesn't apply here. So like he already kind of strikes me as like a superhuman who just has like hand-eye coordination at a level that normal people don't know is even possible. So like just seeing his like ways that he would be able to pull stuff out in space would be pretty cool. So yeah, that's my
I'll
reason.
just name three more people since you named those names. Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton.
Oh, Kevin's
Seth
great.
Rollins again, kind of going back to the AJ point that you made. I think it's a very similar vein there. Kevin Owens, because I find the visual of him giving stunners in zero gravity like fucking hilarious, because they would just keep like floating up and up and up. And Randy Orton, because who doesn't want to see him jump really high in the air and hit a fucking RKO on somebody that towers over him back on Earth? So, yeah.
All right. Next question is instead of Cody, John Moxley comes out at WrestleMania and faces Seth. What would your initial reaction be?
Confusion and, to be honest, a bit of disappointment,
Yeah.
because I feel like he's so much happier in AEW, and I'm enjoying the faction with Danielson and Regal more than I would enjoy that one match. So yeah, confusion and disappointment I think
I
would be my
guarantee you the
immediate gut
first thing
reaction.
out of my mouth would be, oh my God, Russo was right.
Well, because what did Russo say again? Just so
That
I have
WWE and
context.
AEW were in cahoots.
Oh my God, Jesus.
He started saying that like after the first AEW show, I think it was like Double or Nothing in 2019 when Moxley showed up. He's literally been saying since then that yeah, they're in cahoots. That AEW is like a subdivision almost like of WWE and stuff like that. Like yeah, he's got the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
All right, so fifth and final question from Foster, and the final question of this entire Q&A. Name a show from your past that you love, but you're hesitant to ask for a reboot slash sequel.
You know what my mind immediately went to, because I actually did see this question, so I have some time to mull it over, but I'm going to stick with this answer. I loved Codename Kids Next Door as a kid, and there was always this talk that there was supposed to be a sequel series, because the series ends with number one going to the Kids Next Door moon base and doing all that, and that's where the series is supposed to take place. It's the moon base and like all these new missions and stuff. So I think I would love to see, just out of curiosity, like how that would look, but I'm so hesitant because, again, we've seen some reboots and sequels that are good. Like I would consider Bel Air, that we were talking about earlier, to be like in that rare category of, man, this is actually really good. Others though are atrocious, and it's like, no, my childhood's just been exhumed and murdered all over again. So yeah, I would say that. I would say that. I'd be curious what it was supposed to look like conceptually and everything else. What about you though, bro? What property are you thinking about?
Jackie Chan Adventures.
Ooh, that's a good one. Look at you. I like that answer. Damn.
That was just one of those shows that just hit right back in the day. But like, you just know that if they tried to remake it today, all of the soul that that show had at the time would just get lifted out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Actually, no, that was the last question from him. So yeah, that's it. Wow,
Yep.
we cleared this shit. God damn.
Not even an hour and a
Uh,
half. How about that?
yeah. Damn, Javaris number one was supposed to be the villain. See, that would have been interesting. That would have been interesting. All right, guys, that was Q&A. I can't believe my internet held out for this. I'm so fucking happy. Also, really random, but I just saw a Twitter story here. Shout out to Great O'Khan, this fucking king. He beat up and subdued a drunk pervert that was trying to make a move on a minor.
Yeah.
And then when he got a statement from, I guess, police or whatever, he said it took more courage for the girl to call out for help than it did for him to respond. And then he also bought the girl pancakes to keep her calm and comfortable until the mother could arrive. And then when they asked how could they thank him, he just suggested that they watch nude. So I'm gonna give Okan some, that's some fucking king shit. Way to go, my guy. Way to fucking go.
Get him out of the
But
United Empire and into chaos. This man is a babyface.
yes, yes, I'm saying. So really cool. I just thought I'd share that because you hear so much like bucket type news coming out of wrestling. So you really need to fucking
Hey
highlight the good
man,
ones, the
the biggest
genuinely
Gus
good
Bucket
ones.
news of like some old drunk pervert trying to make a move on a minor.
Exactly, exactly. Um,
Joey Ryan.
yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Marty Skrull.
Um. So yeah, April 28th will be the date of the next Q&A number 70. Um. So Okan is the real leader, right? Damn right, Foster. So yeah, April 28th, next Q&A. You guys know how this works. I'm gonna put a pinned tweet up as soon as the show's over. Q&A channel is always active on the Discord, which only costs $3 a month to be a part of. And with that $3, you get the additional Q&A questions anyway, so you can ask up to 5 Q&A questions. If you don't donate any money, or if you just donate the dollar, that's the other option too to get the 5 questions. But if you don't donate any money, it's only 3 Q&A questions. So that'll be April 28th. And we'll see you guys there as far as like Q&A is concerned. Obviously, the rest of this week, I really like the plan that Ash and I have come up with. So Friday, Ashton, did you say that we were gonna preview Stand and Deliver at 7?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Then 8 to 10 is games, 10 to 11 is Rampage, and then 11:30 is. We're still previewing WrestleMania, right? Or
Correct.
Okay, I thought so. But then as far as reactions, we're doing Takeover Stand and Deliver Saturday at 1. Not looking forward to that at all.
I just wanted to
That's gonna.
say I never had that on the schedule, so if you want to back out, now's the time.
Oh, let's fucking do it. Oh my
Yeah.
god, fuck yeah, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? So then when will
It's
we meet up on Saturday then for WrestleMania? When is that?
I honestly don't know. I really have no clue. It wouldn't surprise me if the correct answer was 6.
At the wrong time so that we miss the shit that we wanted to miss. But no, what Ash and I have agreed on is that just matches that we're interested in, and I'm sure he's interested in like a few more matches than I am, but I'm totally cool with that. We just react to that and we say fuck it to the rest of the show, which honestly was the best case scenario because we at least acknowledge WrestleMania's existence, but also we don't have to watch Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, and I cannot tell you folks how much that has just saved my soul from pure fucking agony. And knowing that we're just not doing Stand and Deliver has put me in a great mood. I can tell my family that Family Day is officially uncanceled, which my sister seemed oddly excited about having that a long time with Chris. So I might
Okay,
be
yeah,
saving
dude.
him
It
and damning
seems
him.
like eight
Yeah.
o'clock is going to be the time for. They're going to do 1 hour kickoff shows on both days, starting at 7 p.m.
Okay, so yeah, I guess 8 o'clock Saturday, I'll meet up with you, and then we'll just selectively just react. Now, again, guys, of course, since this is still my part of the outro, I hope that the internet holds out. I have been very fortunate that our recording schedule more or less has been undisturbed. I mean, obviously, it's had a few hiccups, but we've still been able to get the content out. I want that to continue, especially with what I actually really care about, the Cinderella tournament right around the corner. Um, and please, people, and I'm being dead serious, if you've ever given your energy to me for anything, give energy that we get fiber internet because I really feel like we're actually close. But it also might be a lie, and then I'll be deeply depressed. But yeah, so that's our plan for WrestleMania. We're just gonna react to the matches that we want to, but Friday is gonna be stacked. So yeah, we'll preview uh Stand and Deliver 7 p.m. Friday. We won't be reacting to it. We'll just skip the fuck out of that. Then 10 is Rampage. 11:30 WrestleMania preview and predictions. Of course, 8 to 10 is games for Discord members, and then again just select WrestleMania reactions on I guess just Saturday, right? And then Sunday, are you and I just taking off because night 2 looks like dog shit or what?
No,
Just same principle for night 2.
we'll react to select matches on Sunday too, because you got to remember Edge Styles is happening on Sunday.
Okay, yeah. So, but I guess same meetup time though. Then 8 o'clock for
Yes.
Sunday.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Then there you go. Well, now I'm gonna hand it back to this handsome and far more succinct face here. That's you, by the way. So yeah, that's it for me, guys, and peace.
All
So.
right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you all enjoyed. If you did like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, follow us on Twitter and Twitch, and if you'd like to support us, you can also subscribe on Twitch, buy our merch on Spring, donate to our Patreon, and share this channel and this video with all your wrestling fan friends, and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube and Twitch wrestling communities. That's right, we are TWitWoW, and we are the workhorses of the YNTWCs. And as John said, our next Q&A will be on Thursday, April 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure that if you have any questions for us, that you get them in by then. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait a whole other month. And then our next one is May 26th. And then our next one after that actually works out really well. It's June 30th on the dot. We get a 5-week break there. That's going to be dope. So we will also be doing the triple header tomorrow. We've got preview and predictions for Stand and Deliver on at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And then if you're in the Discord, we'll see you for games at 8. And then at 10, we go live to react to Rampage, which is fucking stacked, and I cannot wait for that show. We've got Young Bucks versus Top Flight opening that show. Jamie Hayter's going to be wrestling on that show. And most importantly, we've got Keith Lee versus Powerhouse Hobbs in the main event. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. And then at 11:30 p.m. tomorrow night, we will be previewing and predicting WrestleMania. And then, as John said, we'll just be live reacting to the matches that we actually care about at WrestleMania. So just to go over this, actually, John, if you're still there, I'd like to go over this with you just to make sure that we're on the same page as far as the matches that we're going to be reacting to on WrestleMania. So, okay. I'm going to go over every match that they have listed, and you can tell me yes or no as far as whether you want to react to it or not. Okay?
Okay.
Becky Bianca.
Yes.
Agree. Mysterios versus Miz and Logan Paul.
Fuck it.
Fuck no.
No.
McIntyre Corbin.
No.
Fuck no. Usos versus Nakamura and Boogs.
Yes, I'd be open to that one.
I'm open to skip that one, actually. I'm whatever about that one.
Yeah, honestly,
of the tag matches on that day, that's the more watchable of the two. But I'm not like overly excited by it either. It feels like a whatever.
I could understand that. Yeah, I'm fine skipping it too. I mean, you know me, I'm not gonna fight it. If you want to skip it, we're fucking skipping it. Like,
speaking of tag matches, we've got the New Day, X and Kofi versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland.
I honestly, it'd be a little weird for me. I don't blame Ridge for what happened, but I don't necessarily want to watch that match because it's going to make me think about Big E, and it's sad.
So then we've got Seth Rollins versus TBA, which we know is probably going to end up being Cody Rhodes. I'm perfectly fine skipping that.
I'm fine skipping it as well.
And
absolutely.
Then, of course, the one that we know we're going to skip, Ronda Charlotte. Then day 2, we have got the women's tag title match, which I really want to watch. It's Zelina and Carmella versus Sasha and Naomi versus Rhea and Liv versus Natalya and Shayna.
That might happen on the pre-show, so I might even get on with you at 7 that day if you want to see that.
Right.
Because that sounds like a pre-show match to me.
Then we've got Knoxville versus Zayn. Anything goes.
Fuck it. No.
McAfee Theory I'd like to watch.
I'm open to it only because I want to support the Giga Chad.
Yeah. Pat McAfee is batting 100. He's never had a bad match in wrestling. Actually batting 1,000. I said 100. Batting 1,000. 100's terrible. So then we've got RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy for the WWE Raw tag titles. I'd like to watch that too.
That's cool. That's cool with me because I hear about those people involved. That could be fun. Yeah, day 2 is definitely looking like the better day.
Edge versus AJ Styles is an easy watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lashley Omos, I'm down to skip.
I'm down to skip that too. I don't really care.
And then Lesnar Reigns, I still haven't decided.
You know what, man?
If you could guarantee me that match is going to be under 10 minutes, I would watch the shit out of it.
I don't know if they could guarantee that to you, though. Because on one hand, I could see it, right? But on the other hand, I'm like, with everything at stake, they probably do want to drag it out for dramatic effect.
Yup. That's what I fear. I fear that they're going to turn that into, like, they're going to try and make it like an actual, like, 20-minute main event match. And I'm just like, I have no interest in watching either one of these guys go that long against each other.
You want to just be bold and skip it, honestly? Like, though, because the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, I really...
Yeah, I kind of do. Like, I think it's one of those things where I'd like to watch it, but I don't want to have to react to it, because it's probably going to be boring if it goes...
Well, dude, I guess where I'm coming from, and I feel like you and I are essentially on the same page, I wouldn't even mind, like, watching a YouTube recap of it from somebody, and then just doing that. Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm not losing anything by not seeing that match, especially when allegedly we're going to be living with the repercussions for a long time anyway. Yeah. So it's like, fuck. Let's skip it.
Yeah, let's just pencil in that we're going to skip it.
So how many matches does that come out to that we'll be reacting to, like, just cumulatively between the 2 nights?
If we include the Usos versus Nakamura and Boog, so we're being generous here, that's 2. That's literally the only 2 matches on night 1 that we want to watch. Women's tag matches 3, McAfee Theory is 4, Raw tag titles 5, Edge Styles 6. So 6 total.
Still like a small pay-per-view card. That's not bad. And honestly, dude, more I think about it, I like Nakamura and Boogs, and obviously I like the Usos, but I've been so checked out of SmackDown, like it's an inconsequential match anyway. Like if I was still
I will
actively following the
say,
product during game
at the
night,
very least,
yeah.
Rick Boogs has gotten over as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um Yeah, I'm cool skipping that. I really, you know what the funny thing is, dude? If I would want to watch anything from that match, I know this is gonna sound so weird, it would just be Boogs and Knox's entrance because I would want to hear the pop that they'd get,
Right.
particularly Boogs.
Yeah.
But that's honestly the most compelling part to
But
me.
we
Like
can go
I
back
know
and
the
look that
uses
up
are
on
great.
YouTube afterwards. Like we don't need to
Exactly. So
react to
let's
the whole
let's
match to appreciate that.
yeah. So if you skip that, then it's just
5.
5 matches, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's literally only Bianca Becky on night 1. Night 1 is ass.
Yeah, dude. That's perfect. That's honestly like if we had to do WrestleMania, I think this is my best case scenario personally. I
Awesome.
am down with all.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Glad that
All
we
right.
managed to finally arrive at a consensus on this. That's really, really working out well then.
Oh, and dude, it's far, more painless than I thought it would be. Because
Oh,
honestly, yeah,
God.
WrestleMania weekend low key scared me because I'm like, I just don't care at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a nice card. That's a nice card.
Cool.
All right, please continue with your outro, good sir.
All right. Well, now you know what we're doing for WrestleMania weekend, and next week we will be able to react to Stardom again. We're going to have a Cinderella tournament show at the very least, so we hope that you're looking forward to that. And most importantly, we hope that you're all able to remember to stay tuned.